Found what you're looking for. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling Podcast with Chuck Bowser, RCDD. Well, seeing how we're pulling Category 6A, the most powerful twisted pair in the world, you gotta ask yourself this one question. Did I pull 295 or 300 feet? Well, do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? What exactly does RCDD stand for? Registered Communications Distribution Designer. Just the expert you need to ensure your cable plant performs exactly as designed. The elite professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in leading-edge ICT design principles. Now, send the new guy to the truck for a bucket of dial tone and the cable stretchers, while you listen to an informative program on telecommunications.
Welcome to Thursday night after hours live with Chuck Bowser, RCDD, your favorite RCDD, right? Am I not your favorite RCDD? Let me know in the chat box. Am I your favorite RCDD? Hopefully your answer would be, yeah, Chuck, you are my favorite RCDD, right? Before we get too much further along, you know the rules. What are you drinking? What are you drinking? Today, I am just drinking water, just regular water, not even any ice. It's just straight up water. What are you drinking? Tell me in the chat box. What are you drinking below? Remember, this is After Hours Live, so you can be drinking adult beverages if you desire. I'm just not going to be drinking adult beverages because I'm running the show. I can't do that. Now we covered the what are you drinking? Let's cover the hey, do you know you can support this show, right? Did you know that? Did you want to become a Patreon member? Make sure you hit the hit on that the QR code. If you're on, by the way, for those watching on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. You're getting the full thing. You guys are kind of seeing the behind the scenes stuff. So make sure you go to the QR code, click on that. Make sure you send me an email. You can also schedule a 15-minute Zoom call with me after hours, of course. You can also even buy me a cup of coffee. Yeah. Dr. Pepper. Is that you, Shotzi? Is that you? That's funny. Dr. Pepper. Yes. Now let's before we get too much further along, we've already done our after hours thing, right? You can buy me a cup of coffee. Oh, I know what we've got to do. We forgot to do the acronym challenge. Now this one should be a relatively easy one, right? A relatively easy one. The AHJ. What is the AHJ? Let me know in the chat box if you know what the AHJ means. Okay, AHJ. I'll give you a few seconds to figure that out. So somebody in TikTok, while we're waiting for the HJ to be figured out, what's that machinery behind you? Why, thank you for asking, Viking Witch Crew. The orange thing is a machine labeler. It labels cables and stuff. I'm talking about copper and fiber cabling. The gray thing next to it is my AEM Test Pro 100. I use it to test my cables when I'm doing experiments and stuff like that. So what does AHJ mean, people? Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Kim got it. I'm sorry, Kim. I didn't see. Kim, 10,000 points for the first correct answer. Yes, the authority having jurisdiction. That's what that means. That's what that means. Now, let's remove that graphic. So what is the AHJ? Somebody actually said the electrical inspector, and they're not really well, they can be the electrical inspector. They are the person who has authority over the building that you're doing work in, right? So most of the time it's going to be the AHJ. But you do work on federal government property, you may not have an electrical inspector, but they do have an AHJ. They do have an AHJ. So now that we got the acronym challenge out of the way, oh, I want to show you guys something. Remember a while back I told you about the stickers? Remember? So y'all know about my regular Let's Talk Cabling podcast stickers, right? But I just got these in too. Look at that. Knowledge is power. Yes. Knowledge is power. If you want one of these stickers, visit my QR code, visit my link tree, the thing up there, and buy me a cup of coffee, and I will send you a set of stickers for free, for just buying me a cup of coffee. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? All righty. So now that we got that out of the way, the sticker challenge out of the way. Oh, I know what we forgot to do. We forgot to do the motivational minute. Yay! The motivational minute. And this one comes from Arthur Ashe. And he says, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. I love that. Start where you are, meaning don't wait. You're not going to get into, let's talk about career wise, right? You're not going to jump in this career automatically being an RCDD. You got to kind of work your way there, right? Use what you have, right? Don't be jealous of other people. You didn't see their journey. Their journey might have been harder than yours, right? And then do what you can, and don't get upset with yourself if there's something that you feel like you should be able to do, but you don't have the thing. So make sure that you do it. Oh, Jannard Tools is in the house. Jannard, when's that podcast going to air that you and I talked on and you interviewed me? And also call me because I got something I want to talk to you about that might be of real interest to you. Okay. Thank you for being here tonight, Jannard Tools. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get on with the questions, right? So the first question, this was such a great question. A great question. And this one came to me via TikTok. Let me flip over to the caption so I can put it on there. And this question came from Edward on TikTok the other day. And Edward wants to know Cat 8 versus fiber, right? Cat 8 versus fiber. So I did a video. Somebody said Cat 8 was dead. Cat 8 was old technology. Cat 8 was old technology. Yeah, right. And 40 gig was ancient technology. I'm like, yeah, where'd you get your information from? So somebody commented that guy's response, and they were asking, Cat 8 versus fiber. Why not just do fiber? Why would you choose Cat 8? And I was like, dude, that's a great question. That's a great question. So for me, right, there are three big considerations when I'm trying to decide whether Cat 8 or fiber. There's three big considerations. Those considerations are cost, the distance that I'm going to have to run this over, and also the ease of use. All right. Let's look at distance first. Category 8 cable can only do 40 gig up to 30 meters. 30 meters. Now, for those who may not know, that's 98 feet, 98.4 feet or something like that. OM3 fiber can do 10 gig up to 100 meters or 328 feet. OM4 can do 10 gig up to 492 feet. So if your sole decision for deciding Cat 8 versus fiber and distance is your concern, fiber wins the challenge on the distance challenge. Let's talk about cost. Right? Now, Cat 8 cable, like I said, can only go that maximum of that 30 meters, right? That 98 feet. So I based my cost on 30 meters or 98.4 feet. So I got the pricing of Category 8 cable, Category 8 connectors, Category 8 patch panel, Category 8 patch cords, right? And by the way, if you're watching this and you're from one of the distribution channels like Graybar Annixter or CSC or something like that, from time to time I will be doing these comparisons. So if you want to, work with me and kind of give me these prices, street prices, not special prices, and I'll just give you a shout out when I do it. But these prices that I got are from Amazon. I'd rather have gotten them from distribution, but hey, it is. So Cat 8 cable going at 30 meters, the price ended up being $217. Now that doesn't count labor, that doesn't count overhead, that doesn't count markup. That's pure cost, $217. Now when I look at OM3 fiber for that same 30 meters, because I wanted to compare apples to apples, right? OM3 fiber, the fiber with the fiber patch cords, with the transceivers, with the Category 8 patch cords to be able to plug it into the equipment, it was $517. $517 for that same 30 meters. So if your primary consideration is cost, Category 8 wins. Category 8 wins. It's cheaper. It's less than half the price. Now, complexity of the install. Category 8 cable is S/FTP cable. S/FTP cable. That means there's an overall full shield. Once you get past that full shield, you got your 4 pairs inside of that. Each of those 4 pairs has a full wrap around it as well. That cable is a bear to terminate. A bear to terminate. Right? Now, here's another problem with Category 8 cabling and Category 8 connecting equipment. That's kind of disregard what that idiot said on TikTok, right? Cat 8 cable is Live Fort Warby. How you doing, my friend? Cat 8 cabling is still new, so it's kind of hard to find Category 8 cabling, Category 8 connectors, and testers that can test Category 8 stuff. You need a 2G tester to be able to test Cat 8 cable. It's still kind of newer technology. When you look at fiber, 40 gig over fiber, now you need 8 strands. You need 4 transmits. You need 4 receives to get to that 40 gig. It takes 2 strands to make 1 channel. One's a transmit, one's a receive. 1 channel can handle up to 10 gigs. So you need 4 channels. 4 channels times 2 strands gives us 8 strands, right? So the best way to do it over fiber, I feel, now you may feel different. If you do, let me know in the chat box, is to use pre-terminated fiber trunk assemblies, right? So I priced it out pre-terminated fiber trunk assembly. And here's another thing that complexity of the install. When you're using pre-terminated fiber trunk assembly, it's plug and play. Anybody can do it. Anybody. I can bring my 15-year-old grandson up here over the weekend, and I can have him installing pre-terminated fiber trunk assembly stuff. And a lot of people are more comfortable with fiber than they are Category 8 cabling. So for me, in the complexity of the install, fiber wins because it's easier to deal with. So it boils down to when you make your final decision, whether to go Category 8 or go to fiber, find out what the length is. If it's over the 30 meters, fiber is going to be your only bet. If it's under 30 meters and price is concerned, go with Category 8 cabling. That was such a great question. Such a great question. Now, let me go ahead and flip off that and flip over to the next question. And this one comes from James on Instagram. And James wants to know, an electrician installed a TBB that was over 200 feet long and used a number 6 cable. Is that wrong? Okay, first, let's explain what a TBB is. A TBB is a telecommunications bonding backbone. We're talking about the bonding and grounding system. This is the bonding conductor that ties all the bus bars together in the building. Okay, it's the backbone. So the answer to this question is it kind of depends. If your only concern is the code book, then yes, this is a proper installation. If standards is your way that you want to go, then the answer is no. Because the standard tells us that the size of the telecom bonding backbone is directly related to the length of that conductor. Okay. So if you use the chart in the standards for a 200-foot run TBB, that's got to be a 500 kc mil. Kc mil means 1,000 circular mils. So 1 kc mil is 0.5067 meters squared. So 0.5 kc mil is about a half inch. A half-inch copper conductor. That's a pretty big conductor, isn't it? Right? Oh, by the way, when you're talking about bonding conductors, the closer you get to the grounding source, the bigger the conductor has to get. You never want your conductors getting smaller as you're getting towards the ground source. If you have too small of a conductor, what will happen is when you hit with a voltage surge, it will literally, the conductor will heat up and it could ignite and catch on fire. It's always better to default to a larger bonding conductor size than a smaller bonding conductor size. Another important thing when you're talking about bonding conductors, you want to keep those conductors as short as possible and as straight as possible. Short as possible and as straight as possible. So they got a question in here from TikTok. Can't fiber break easier than copper? Depends. So the pulling tension for copper and fiber are actually different. Right, so the maximum pulling tension for category rated cable is 25 pounds. Maximum pulling tension for fiber is 50 pounds. So it's actually more. But if you're pulling around a sharp edge, especially with the older fiber, not the bend and sensitive stuff, but the older fiber, you can break that fiber kind of easy. So, but as professional installers, we're taking our time and we're being careful with the fiber to make sure that we don't do things like that, right? So we're being professionals. Professionals. All right, let's go to the next question. And it's kind of funny that Gennard Tools came on tonight because this question is kind of very similar to what Gennard does. I actually did an interview on Gennard Tools on their podcast, and they're going to be broadcast. He didn't say he wasn't sure when they're going to broadcast it, but they will. So this question comes from Tim, and Tim wants to know, does 568A perform as well as 568B? Right? Does 568A perform as well as 568B? And my answer is yeah, pretty much. They're pretty close to each other. I mean, I did an experiment one time. I took a 100-foot piece of cable and I terminated it 568A and I tested it with my AEM Test Pro 100. And then I tested it. I cut those ends off. I terminated it B. I retested it. And I found that the A termination actually tested just a tiny bit better than the B did. Now, that could have been because of the nuances between the terminations or what, but I was pretty careful to make sure that I did them exactly the same. But the little bit of a difference that the A had on the B was not enough to really worry about. It really is not. Now, for those who may not know, 568A versus 568B, let me throw up a graphic for you real quick, right? 568A versus 568B, right? Let me turn off the caption here so it's not in front of it. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you see the screen. I got the 568A wiring scheme and the 568B wiring scheme, okay? The 568A wiring scheme and B wiring scheme both can be used in commercial building applications per the standards, right? Commercial buildings, you can use both. Now, in the commercial world, some customers, like the federal government and some schools and some banks, they like using the A wiring scheme. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't find a customer using an A wiring scheme somewhere in the U.S. You can use A or B in a commercial environment. Now, here's the thing. The A wiring scheme. If you're doing residential wiring, as George pointed out in TikTok, if you're doing a wiring scheme, you can only do that in residential. You cannot use the B wiring. Well, the standard says you're not supposed to use the B. Remember, standards are voluntary, right? So residential wiring, you're supposed to be using A. Commercial, you're supposed to be using B. The reason they want you to use the A wiring scheme, when you look at the A wiring scheme here on the left-hand side, you notice the blue is the very center pins and the orange are the two pins on the outside of that. Those two pins match up with another wiring scheme called USOC, right? And there's a lot of phone systems out there that have two-line phones in their house. Not anymore. We're kind of getting away from that now. Most people have cell phones in their house, right? Very few people have landlines. So the reason it's important is because there are millions of houses out there that were wired up using USOC. So in order to maintain the usability of the two phone lines, that's why they want you to use the A wiring scheme, because it matches up with that. Right? Here's a trivia question for you. And whoever answers this first, I will send you a complete set of stickers. A complete set of stickers. First person answers this question. Okay? First person. What does the T stand for in T568A and T568B? First person is to correctly answer that. What does the T stand for? Steve Cowles is in the house. Hello, Steve. How you doing, my friend? You just missed. I was just talking about the AEM Test Pro just a few seconds ago. And Tony Baker is also in the house. Hello, Tony. Welcome, my fellow friend. What does the T stand for in T568A and T568B? First person to answer it correctly gets a complete set of stickers. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Nobody knows. Nope. Does not stand for TIA. Does not. It stands for termination. Termination. The reason they put the T in front of the 568A and 568B, when they came, The 568.1 standard is the generic cabling standard. In that standard, it tells you the wiring schemes. So in the 568.1 standard, right? And then that didn't used to be called 568.1. It used to be called 568A, 568B. And then what happened was when it came out with the wiring scheme, people were getting the wiring schemes confused with the standards, right? Well, we're now in the 568.1E standard, so there's no confusion anymore. So that's why they called it T568A, T568B. Right. All righty. Let's go ahead and go to the next question. This was the last pre-submitted question I had, so I might have some time for some live questions. So make sure you start typing your question in now. Let me go and throw this question up on the screen so we can see it. Chris Hines got it right. Chris Hines, shoot me an email. Give me your address, and I will send you a complete set of stickers. Complete set of stickers, my friend. So the last question is, the customer wants me to estimate a price for them, but they don't have prints, and I can't visit the site. How am I going to be able to put a price to this? As an estimator, I hated these kinds of bids because there's a lot of risk that you're taking, a lot of risk, right? Now, what do I mean by that? You don't have any prints, so you can't do the actual measurements. You can't go to the job site and actually measure the sites on the site, right? You can't. So how do you come up with a price? How do you know how much cable you're going to use? What I used to do in this scenario is I would base my cable footages off a 150-foot average. Okay, 150-foot average. Why 150 feet? That's kind of like the industry normal average. You hear that a lot in your 150-foot average. A couple years back, my day job, for a while there, I had to look at all the test results that were submitted to us for warranties. Over that year period, I looked at 800,000 cable runs. 800,000 cable runs, right? And what I was doing is as I was reviewing the cable runs, I would just copy the column, throw it into a spreadsheet of the length, and then I was keeping an average. So average run length over 800,000 runs for that year that I was monitoring, the average run length was 147 feet. Well, 147.4 something. It was some weird number. So yeah, base all your footages on 150 feet. But you have to protect yourself as well. You have to protect yourself. So when you write the scope of work, there's a section that you want to put in there. It's called terms and conditions and assumptions, right? So what you want to do is under the assumptions, you want to write this pricing is based on 150-foot average. We reserve the right to come back for more money for labor and material if the average exceeds 150 feet based on the test results submitted to the customer, right? Make sure you put that in your bid. That's going to protect you. And then the best thing to do is make sure the customer understands that verbiage is in there. That verbiage is in there. And, I used to tell people all the time, the more time you give me the estimate, the more information you give me to estimate, the more accurate my price is going to be, right? If you cut back my time, I'm gonna put a lot of extra fluff in that bid in case I catch that bid. I want to make sure that there's enough money in it that we don't lose our pants, right? That we don't lose our pants. So that's good. I haven't got an estimating question in a while. I was kind of glad to get that question. Yeah. All right. So I'm ready for some live questions because I only had 4 submitted questions because of last week. There was an issue last week where I couldn't get on. So remember, write your questions in now, and I'll keep an eye on both TikTok and let me go back and look through the chat feed. So Todd here says, let me see. Oh, I got to put on my safety glasses so the words don't jump off the page and injure my eye. The Bixie Fall Conference registration has opened up. It's crazy expensive. Travel is expensive and hotels are expensive. I want to go, but I'm not sure if I should. Should I go? Is it really worth all of that? What all will I get out of it? Okay, so of all the Bixie conferences that I've gone to, all of them have been the winter conference in Orlando, except for one. except for one. So I don't know if I have enough experience to tell you if the fall conference is going to be as good as you think it might be. The reason I would always go to the Orlando conference, two reasons. One, I live in Florida and it's an hour and 20 minutes that way. It's pretty easy for me to go to. And also, I like going to the awards banquet that they have at the end of the year. Right? That's an awards banquet. They come in and they have dinner and stuff, and they give out the awards. I like going to those, and they also have entertainment as well. That's why I always go to the winter conference. Now, the one fall conference that I did go to in the past, and this was pre-COVID, so it was a long time ago, pre-COVID, right? It didn't seem to be as populated as the Orlando conference. But that doesn't really answer your question, though, does it? You want to know, is it worth your time? Will you get enough out of it? So there's a couple different things that you get out of going to a bixie conference, right? You get the education, right? You get the education. You also get to go to the exhibit hall to see all the new stuff down in the exhibit hall. So if you've been seeing, for example, you've been thinking about getting a fusion splicer, right? Well, you can go by and check out the fusion splicer that that UFC Swift has, right? Or you can go check out all the other ones. If you've been looking at labeling machines, you can stop by the Brothers Solutions booth and talk to Todd. If you do, make sure you tell him I said hi, right? You can put your hands on the stuff. So it's a great place to go to look at a bunch of different products and stuff right then and there. If one of the cable manufacturers comes out with something new, like Category 8 cable, Category 8 connectors, NPTL, or something like that, or some type of a like cable assembly for MPTLs, that's a great place to go see it, right? It's a great place to go see that. Another benefit that you get out of going to the conferences is they usually have the meetings for the committees, the Codes and Standards Committee and all those other committees. And you can actually attend those committee meetings. You can't vote in them if you're not a member, but you can certainly sit in there as a guest as long as you're not disruptive, and you can pay attention and listen to what's going on. It's a great way to keep current on what's going on with the industry. It really is. I also suggest you join one of those committees. Then the other thing that you get out of those going to the conferences is you get to network. You get to network. Now, I'll be the first to admit, my first half dozen, first 8 conferences I went to, I was the shy guy sitting in the back of the room. I wasn't good at social media. I wasn't good at introducing myself to people I don't know. I am not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not. My wife calls me a social butterfly now. Yeah. I have no problems walking up to anybody and talking to anybody now because I've learned the secrets on how to start conversations, right? So yeah, go to people and meet with people and talk to them. You learn a lot of stuff from people. You really do. Let's talk about that for a second. How do you approach somebody? Let's say you're at a bixie conference and you see a potential client, right? How do you know? And how do you know they're a potential client? Everybody's got name badges. Matter of fact, I got my name badge from my last conference sitting back there on the thing. I'll change it out when I go to the next conference, right? So how do you walk up to somebody and start a conversation without sounding like an idiot, right? There's certain cues that you can pick up on, right? So, for example, if I see somebody wearing like a Harley Davidson shirt, and I know this is the guy that I want to talk to, I'll just kind of casually kind of walk into it. Hey, you ride? What do you ride? And then I'll start that conversation with, yeah, I ride too, or I used to ride, or if you don't ride, I want to ride. What kind of bike? Get them talking about something they like, right? And then after you get that conversation rolling, then you can, kind of go from there. And it doesn't even have to be a shirt. Everybody at Bixie Conference wears company shirts, right? They'll say, whatever company they work for. Some people don't. Matter of fact, when I walk around with my badge, I turn my badge backwards so you can't see my name. Right? I don't know why. I've always done that. I still do to this day. But you don't have to necessarily pay attention to the shirt, right? So, for example, if I'm walking around and I see that you're wearing Vans tennis shoes, I'll start a conversation with you. Hey, you skateboard? They might skateboard, they might not, right? And then we'll get talking about shoe wear or something. Because I'm telling you, if somebody pays monies for Vans, they care about their footwear. They care about their feet. So I've learned through those types of cues to be able to pick up and talk to people. So that's a great way to do that. And you can do that at the bixie conference. You can practice that. And my one of my former bosses, he retired a long time ago. He was a division manager for Hinkles McCoy at the time. Oh, there goes my watch. And he was great at starting up conversations. Great at starting up conversations. So yeah, I think they're worth it. And here's the beautiful thing for you, Todd. If you participate in the committee meetings, right? And they do them virtually, they do them online as well. If you participate, it doesn't cost anything to join a committee. If you participate in those committees, the one I went to last year, the winter conference, I was able to get in at half price because I actually am signed up for one of the committees. So I was able to get in at half price. So that's another reason why you might want to do that, right? And now you're concerned about the cost for the conference is not so much. So, and I think aren't they doing the fall one in Las Vegas? I think, yeah, I think they're doing it in Vegas. So to me, I think they're worth it. I really do. So, Teresa's in the house. Hello, Teresa. Saw your post the other day. You need to email me again. I got some new stickers to send you, Teresa. So, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So, message me on LinkedIn. Send me your address again. I'll send you some new stickers to add to the collection that you already have. Right. Any other questions? I'm scanning real quickly to see if anybody else has any additional questions. Nobody in the chat box. Nobody up here in the TikTok feed. If you do go to the Todd, if you do go to the fall conference, let me know, because there is a chance. It's a small chance right now, but there is a chance that I may come out there just to attend the exhibit hall, because I got lots of freaking flyer miles, lots of hotel points. So literally all it's going to cost me is take a day off from work and fly out there and do that, right? Because you can get into the exhibit hall for free. So let me know if you go, and then I'll let you know if I go. If we do, let's meet up and have a cup of coffee. All right. All righty. Any other questions, comments, concerns, complaints? If not, I'll go ahead and sign off now. All righty. See everybody next week, Thursday night, 6 p.m. Until next time, everybody, remember, knowledge is power.